Hello, this is Matt Stephenson. I am the founder and head trader of Paragon Elite Trading, and I have been trading, multiple asset classes for over 20 years now. And I was a partner with another firm, prop trading firm, since until 2018. And if you want to know more, here's my email address. This is our website, and this is there's what's called a flow page, which gives content. It gives where we're active in the community, as far as educating other investors, and it gives links to some videos that we've created. So I'm sure you've seen this, and it kind of bullet points the differences and the uniqueness of Paragon into it. So what you get with Paragon, you have access to all of our curriculum, which is top-notch. It has been thousands of hours have gone into it and made sure it is current, statistically backed, and we continue to update that. We have our trade blog. We post a lot of trades online to help our traders, figure out what exactly we're looking at as we make trades. We offer trade alerts, so a lot of those trade alerts end up in our trade blog. We also have a forum for our traders. So we have a little over 200 plus traders at the moment, and they're all in our forum, and it's turned out a lot like I hoped it would. It's kind of like a family environment, an attitude of abundance. Now you'll hear me say that a lot, and what I mean by that is often, especially in the finance space, often you'll see a lot of selfishness, a lot of I did the research, so I'm going to reap the benefits, and I'm not sharing my ideas. That's the attitude of scarcity. I don't want that. This is the Forex market. $7 trillion plus a day is traded. I'm not sure what you have in your bank account, but I don't have nearly enough to move the needle, so to speak, on a trade. So we share ideas. And these traders in the forum are from all backgrounds and have all different, they run the whole spectrum of skill set levels. We have programmers, so they run algorithms, and then we have the other spectrum where they're more like me, just technical analysts. We read charts and we trade according to that. And then we have hybrids where they have programming backgrounds and they are technical chartists. So, but what's great is I'm finding that, for example, a programmer will stay up all night and program a new indicator that he or she has, particular interest in, because it's relevant to his or her trading plan. Well, then they'll share it in the trading forum and just say, if you guys find this useful, go ahead and see if it works for you. If not, I'm sure I'll have another one here in a couple weeks. And that's great. It's good to see the greenies, the new guys and gals asking questions, and the veterans answering. So it's turning out exactly the way I wanted. Kind of like a family. We all care about each other's success. We rejoice and we celebrate each other's successes, and because there's no reason not to. Okay, why are we different? We are the only prop firm with the current business model that we have, and there are a few reasons. One, the management team, the other coaches, and we're professional traders. We do this for a living. We do not need the coaching program in order to make any payments that we have monthly. We just don't need to nickel and dime everyone. There's absolutely no reason for that, and that's something I would, whether you work with us or work with another prop firm, I would ask that question. Why are the fees so high? A membership fee, why? Because I was starting to get calls from people that were not being coached the way that my old firm used to when I began with them, and the CEO made it clear that they had no intention of going back to that model. So that was enough for me to say, this isn't right. And they felt trapped. When you pay thousands of dollars to get into a trading program with the promise that you're going to be coached, and with that coaching, you're virtually, you're not assured. You have to do your own work. and you have to put in the work and be passionate about it. But with coaching, it makes it very hard to fail, in a sense. Obviously I can't guarantee anything, but when you have a coach that's a successful trader and has been a professional for years, meeting with you weekly, just you, at some point what he's saying and what he's showing you is going to resonate with you, and you're going to have that aha moment. And that's what we want. But I had several calls of traders that, because they paid that, those thousands of dollars to get in, they didn't want to write it off, and I wouldn't want to either. I mean, that's a hard pill to swallow. So we wanted to do with that all together. Nobody feels trapped here at Paragon, and if they do, I want to hear why, and I want to fix it. So whoever becomes a subscriber or member or trader with us, they have complete control over their tenure with us. In other words, so we have no upfront membership fee, no desk fees. Desk fees, all prop firms charge, and they will give you explanations as to why they charge them and what they go to. Essentially what they're doing is just padding the bank account is what I'll say. And here's the interesting thing. You'll get to a point where you're trading that prop firm's money, but if you don't keep paying that desk fee, you can't trade their money anymore. That's ridiculous. Essentially what it pays for is the brick and mortar, the offices. And I don't know, I don't understand why a potential trader who is doing this as a side gig to start out with, because more than 95% of us do, I did as well, needs to be paying for someone's office, their new monitor, their new desk, new office space. Doesn't make sense. Another thing that makes us different. A lot of people promise coaching, but what does that mean? Again, whether you go with us or someone else, I would be asking that question. What exactly does that mean? And can you put that in writing? Because we do. And there's only a monthly coaching fee. This is for the coach's time. So if you take the monthly cost divided by 4, that is what the firm and the coach collectively are making. So you can kind of see that our coaches are, none of us had aspirations to make that per hour. If you take the monthly coaching fee divided by 4 and change, because there aren't always 4 weeks in a month, and you're entitled to 1 hour a week. So, divide that by 4, and that's the hourly rate that the firm is making. Well, you can see it's kind of a break-even proposition. And occasionally we have to up the fees because it becomes a cost drag, and we don't want to do that. But again, we're professional traders. We're making very good money. We're independently financially set. We don't need to fleece our members. We are trying to give this opportunity to all those who want it. As I said to somebody the other day, I think talent, and I really do believe this, I think talent for this space is evenly distributed around the world. The problem is the resources are not. Resources are definitely not evenly distributed around the world. So my goal with this firm from the beginning has been to create pockets of wealth around the world that never existed before. I've spent time living in very poor countries in my life. That's part of why I wanted to do this. Another part is I've seen talent in rare places that you wouldn't expect it. So that's why we've made the business model the way it is, and it's the only one of its kind that I've found. By far the low-cost leader. So who are we looking for when we're looking at applicants? So, of course, having a trading background will help as you move forward in our process. You'll understand order entry. You'll understand how that market, whatever asset you were trading, moves. You'll understand how to trade those assets. But I've gone back and looked at the statistics, looked at the data, and the traders that have done well, I've trained hundreds of traders over the years I've done this, and the ones that have done well have possessed 3 key characteristics. The first one, motivated. Obviously, having a passion for the market in which they trade is vital. So the best results come when they have these traits. In order to succeed in trading, one must be passionate. And that's true about any career you have. If you don't really care about what you do, are you ever going to be good at it? Maybe. But will you be a rock star at it? I don't think so. I'm a big drummer. and I'm passionate about drumming. I've drummed for over 35 years, and I mean, people would call me good, I guess. Getting looks here. But it's because I'm passionate about it, and that makes me continue to want to get better. And for 35 years, I've tried to get better and better and better and better. And it's just, if you're not having fun in what you do and passionate about what you do, you might do okay, but is okay really where we want to be? Find your passion and pursue it. The next one, trainable. This is a big one because sometimes we will get, traders that have that experience I was talking about before, and they come into the coaching sessions and really aren't teachable. We, as far as, conveying our knowledge and what works for us and maybe adding to their skill set, they feel like, I don't need that. That becomes very hard. In my life, I believe that we should never adopt an attitude that, hey, I've quote arrived, and I am the perfect trader now. Never in our lives, according to my views, will we ever be such a trader. Even if you get your win-loss percentage to 100%, I still think that a lot of those trades could have been executed better where you could have made more money. Does that make sense? So there are several things that we all can teach all of us. I tell the story about a few years ago, I had a bunch of new options traders that I was coaching, and we were on a group trading webinar, and one of the newest people in the group, in the program, called out a ticker, a chart. He said, I don't know, is this a bull pullback? Is this a good bull pullback? And I looked at the chart and I thought, holy cow. Turns out that's an amazing bull pullback you just spotted. And I traded it and I made a lot of money on it. And that was me being reminded of these principles once again. A newbie just showed me a trade that I didn't see. And that brings up another point I want to mention here. I get asked a lot, why are you guys sharing capital? If you're so good, why don't you just trade it yourselves? The simple answer, and it's the truth, there are just too many charts to be watching. For my pair of eyes, there are just too many charts. I can't see them all at once. I can't even come close to seeing them all at once. And when you get in just the Forex market, there's the 15-minute chart, there's the half-hour chart, the hourly chart, the daily chart. How do I look at 28, because we trade the majors, 28 different pairs, currency pairs, on all of those time frames at once? I can't. There's no way. I need more eyes. And add into that I trade options as well. And you can see very easily that it is not, this is not a one-person sport. It is better to be working collaboratively with a group that's highly motivated and teachable, and in return, willing to teach their co-traders or colleagues in the firm. There's always someone better. That's what I learned. No matter how good I got at trading, my coach that I was lucky enough to have at my old firm, let's call him Corey, because that's his name. He, no matter how good I get at trading, he's one of the smartest people I've ever met, and just one of the best people I've ever met. So I'll always be grateful that I had him. I was lucky enough to have him as a coach. Anyway, there's always someone better. We can always learn. Again, I found a great trade from a brand new trader. Made money from that. So the collaborative thing is very important. Getting involved with and working with a group of other traders can only help us. If anybody thinks it's going to be a drag on their performance, or for some reason is going to weigh them down, they're wrong. As you can see, is in our forum, and one of the major reasons why people fail at Forex trading is because they're trading alone. Trading alone gets hard for several reasons. Let's say they're having a slump and they're starting to lose their confidence in themselves and making trades, and so they're not entering trades where they used to, and they're just watching it go without them being involved. They're missing out on that trade because they're too scared now. Sometimes you need the little reassurance from a coach or from a fellow trader or a trading buddy that you might have that trades with us and with you. Stick to your trading plan, and the numbers will work themselves out. It's one thing I tell everybody, because we have all been through trading slumps. It's like when you go to Vegas and you'll look at that roulette wheel. You know how they have that sign that that will put up everything that's come up the last, 30 rolls. Is that what they call it when they spin the roulette wheel? Anyway, when you see about 25 red in a row, statistically that should not be possible, but it happens. Well, those of us that have been trading long enough have gone through that. We've all gone through something that statistically shouldn't happen if we're following our trading plan. Now, sometimes we get a little cocky after, say, a very nice win streak, and we will just enter trades based on our gut, and we will violate our trading plan a little bit. We'll enter them a little earlier than we should. They haven't really passed the point where we have confirmation of a trend, but we're feeling, pretty good about ourselves. We're feeling like we've got the market dialed, and we get a little sloppy, and that can lead to bad trades. So, yeah, working with people, other traders that care about us, as and as well we care about them, creates a family environment, and it's always a good thing. It can't ever hurt. So why trade the Forex market at all? Just wanted to highlight some of the benefits. So this is especially good for those of us that started trading part-time. I had a job, I worked 14 hours a day, so scheduling was very hard. The currency market is open around the clock, Friday night to Sunday night. There are periods that you don't want to be trading because there are little periods of time during the day where not a lot of banks are open around the world, and you want to avoid those. But for the most part, it's 24 hours a day. It is the most liquid market. So if you take every other market in the world, the stock market, the commodities market, futures market, and you combine them, the Forex market is still bigger than every other one combined. So what does that mean? That means there's the most liquidity. And what does liquidity mean? There's the most liquidity and volume. And what do those two things mean? Well, that means low cost trading, because the spreads between the bid and the ask are going to be razor thin, and they are. They're in the 5th decimal digit. So the 100,000th position after the decimal. That's where you'll see the bid and ask spread difference, usually, when it's, say, the euro dollar. It's by far the most traded pair daily, and you'll see razor thin spreads in that pair. That's what we want. We don't want to, and all traders, it seems like, at one point or another, they learn this lesson the hard way on a trade. They'll look at the price line where it is, and then they'll say, okay, I'm gonna go long this pair, and all of a sudden it'll execute, and it'll show where they executed, and the execution price is way above where they saw the price, and that's because of a spread that was larger due to lack of volume, lack of liquidity, timing of the day, and etc. So also in Forex trading, we get more leverage than in any other market. When I do options trading, the most I get in my account is probably 6-1. And that's on the most vanilla, boring spread that I could ever make. And I don't make those trades. So often, most I'll ever get is 2-1. Well, here in the US, with domestic brokers, after Dodd-Frank, after too big to fail happened and Big Brother stepped in and decided they needed to regulate everything, the max leverage we can get with a domestic broker is 50-1. Still pretty great. Now, in Europe, London, we can get 100-1. And we have relationships with some firms that offer that type of leverage. So now don't get me wrong, cautionary note here. Just because someone gives you 50-1 or 100-1 doesn't mean you should go all in. We are not gamblers. We do not gamble. We take statistically backed, high probability trades. And I never use leverage to begin a trade, but as it's moving my way, I will. And that's something we teach people how to do. One thing we're very big on here is managing risk, managing our drawdowns, keeping your drawdowns small, because large drawdowns, for anybody that's had an investment account or trading account, will tell you large drawdowns are death. They just kill you, and it's hard to come back. So keeping those losses small, letting your winners run, that's kind of our mantra here. So we will teach you how to use this leverage wisely. And then at that point, you don't need to make a lot of, in the Forex market, they call them pips. In the stock market, you call them bips, basis points. Well, in the Forex market, it's pips, price and percentage. And it's basically a percent of a percent. So it's the 4th decimal place instead of the 2nd. That is 1 pip, usually, unless it's a yen pair, but we can get into that when we get into the training. So, pathway to becoming a trader, professional trader. I just want to point out across the top, great traders are not just born. A lot of people think that, I just wasn't born to do this. Well, nobody was. Honestly, no one was. They're forged. And the reason we use forged, that word indicates, I think of a steel maker or blacksmith, making a sword. They get the blade really, really hot and then they pound on it. That can't feel too good to the blade, right? Well, there's trial and error. And, it takes work to get to be professional. But again, I looked at it this way. If it were easy, it wouldn't present me with the outcome I'm looking for, which was independently wealthy. I'd have my own freedom. I can do what I want when I want. If those things were out there and you could have them easily, everybody would have them, and then they wouldn't possess those traits anymore because everybody has them. So great traders are forged. And like I said, they possess those traits. This is the pathway. So the first is obviously the interview. Conversation with us about your goals, what we do to help you get there, and to see if you're a good fit for us and if we're a good fit for you. From there, you go on, and everything during the training should be all about learning how to trade, practicing trading, and developing your own unique, specific trading plan for your personality. We all have different personalities. And the first thing we make you do is take a personality assessment. And that's not for us to know, oh, well, we got to cut him because he's this personality. No, not at all. What it is helping our traders understand themselves. And we do the Myers-Briggs test, and you'd be surprised. I've taken a lot of those tests in my life, and I just never gave them any credibility until this one. This one nailed me to a T. So, and then we have a little analysis that tells the trader, okay, you got this personality type. These are the things that could mean for you in trading. These are the advantages and potential pitfalls you could face as you go forward with trading. So we want them to understand, there are two reasons. One, we want them to understand themselves and watch out, for those pitfalls and take advantage of the benefits that their personality presents. Another reason for doing that, the very first thing, is for our traders to recognize that psychology is a huge part of trading. Think about the example I used with a slump. Think about the example with a winning streak. What it does to you, what it does to your mind mentally. Psychology plays a big part in this game. So we need to recognize that. But the overall plan is creating your own trading plan in detail. And how do you get there? Well, you go through the curriculum, you work with your coach, you practice, going through the simulator, doing all, we teach you strategies, and then you take that knowledge and go into the simulator and practice. You analyze your results and see where you can get better. Why did I lose on these trades? And you work with your coach to understand why. And then you make your adjustments, try again. And then as soon as you have your trading plan all buttoned up and it looks good, and you're getting good win-loss ratios, you're getting good profit factor, then it's time to get you trading live money. So that's the process. Now, in order to trade Paragon Elite money, one has to go through the entire curriculum. So all the quizzes done, all the simulated trades done and submitted, and a written trading plan submitted and approved. But we have relationships with many of the top tier prop Forex firms around the world. And we like to get our traders, when they feel comfortable and when their coach feels comfortable, trading those, because they are solely prop firms. So they offer money, they offer capital, meaningful capital, to those that can enter and pass their assessments. So obviously they test the traders that come in, and they want to make sure, just like any firm would, that the trader coming in knows how to actually trade. But that can be done with your coach. So a lot of the coaching sessions I do, I'm live trading with some of my traders in these prop programs that we have partnerships with, even though they're still not at the end of Paragon's training program. They're making money as they go. So just know that is a key goal that we have here. Personally, I like to see my traders that I coach making money within 3 months. And that's a newbie trader. That's a trader that's never traded before. And it's great to see. And it really, increases their own self-confidence in trading. When they see gains in a live account, for some reason it's not real. This isn't real until then. And so that makes them even more excited, and they get they go harder at the curriculum, at simulating trades, and practicing and coming up with their own strategies, taking the strategies that we teach them, altering them slightly, and back testing them, and if they work, they put them into practice. Happens all the time, and I love to see it. So again, this is our own in-house process, but so we have quizzes along the way after a certain amount of curriculum is gone through. So every section of learning is capped off with a quiz, and we assume that everybody's on the honor system. I mean, you're paying for the coaching, so why skirt? Why try to skip through the stuff? No, you want to learn this material, and I honestly go back through it at least once a quarter, and I'm adding new material to try to supplement what we have, add some color to what we have, and keep everything we have current and updated. The written trading plan is your personal unique roadmap for trading successfully. Read that over and over. That's why we have it written. You can have a trading plan in your mind, but don't you think if it's just in your mind, it's going to change with time? I do. If I start trading and I haven't read my written trading plan for a while, I'll find that my latest trades don't really conform to my written trading plan. Now, that means one of two things. I need to get back to that plan because maybe I'm not making good trades, or I need to continue to evolve my written trading plan. Maybe I've found a better way to trade or to execute my trades, and so I need to update my trading plan. Continual evolution of a trading plan is normal, and it's a good thing. You will find that you begin to trade better and better and better and better. And make sure your trading plan is evolving as you do. Simulating trades, vital part. You have to practice. And as I interview people that have traded before, they'll tell you, as well as I will, learning how to trade with live money is not so fun. Because inevitably, you're going to lose. You're going to lose money. I would rather lose paper money every day. If that doesn't make sense, we probably don't need to have a conversation. So I know you all get that point. In fact, the first time I gave it a go at options trading, I just finished my level 3 CFA test. I was feeling pretty hot about myself. I was a PM for an all-cap growth fund, and I thought, I'll try my hand in options because they're so much cheaper than buying the stocks. I was out of money in 3 weeks. So yeah, I wish I had tried it with paper money first. All right, so let me get into our curriculum a little bit. Obviously, we start with the foundational principles. What is pairs trading? What's a pip? Kind of already told you what a pip was. What are the currency pairs we trade? And what are the dominant pairs? Now, all of this will make sense as you get into the material. But again, I mentioned the personality test. Psychology, again, I can't say it enough. So important as you go forward with trading. You get the terminology down. The order entry terminology can get kind of confusing. It's very important that you learn that. All the indicators that we use. You'll find a cocktail of indicators that you like as you go through your simulating trades that work for you. A certain set of them that you like. And that's great. And I don't think any two traders out there that I work with have the same indicators. Because, people just see the chart different ways. And that's because of who we are. We're just a bunch of different people. But that doesn't mean that all of us can't succeed. We just need different things to look at. So advanced trade management, learning how to execute trades better. We help you with that. Capital allocation, so position sizing in each trade. Tax down to tax management, entity formation, everything like that we help you with. And again, as we're doing this, we encourage everybody involved in our program to get involved in the Trader Forum, to get involved with the family, I like to call it. If you have questions, if you're new, you have questions, please throw them out there in the forum, because there are many veterans that trade with us, and they're happy to help. I'm so glad when I see somebody quickly answering a very, very elementary question. And why not? Why not do that for our fellow traders? I think it's great. But here's another thing, and it goes back to the desk fee concept. You will only ever be charged a once a month training fee. There's not going to be a 4-figure, sometimes 5 figures membership fee. No desk fees, no long-term commitment. Train with a coach as long as you want. So, And this bullet point, your funding has no connection to your coaching fee. It goes back to what I was saying. With my old firm, if you wanted to keep trading their capital, you had to keep paying that desk fee even though you weren't being coached at all anymore. Why? How does that make sense? So if you feel, and we have a couple different tiers of coaching here, if you feel like you don't need to be coached anymore and you're doing great, then yeah, keep trading with us, keep trading with our partners. But you don't need to pay a management or a coaching fee anymore if you're not really getting much out of the coaching. So don't worry about that. Again, this is a month-to-month thing. This forces our firm to do what we say we promise we're going to do. And that's where I wanted to put the power in the trader's laps. I want you guys to determine your tenure, not because you paid a massive fee and you don't want to write it off, or because there's some long-term commitment, long-term contract. I want you guys to decide every month, is this worth it? Am I getting what I asked for and what they promised? And I make it very clear to our coaches that this is the promise we've made to the people that join us. So don't lose this company 1 ounce of credibility. I'm kind of like Warren Buffett that way. I've gone to a lot of his annual meetings back when I used to run a fund, and he is adamant about that point. It's okay if you lose us money. You lose us 1 ounce of credibility and you're gone. I love when he says that. Money can be made back. Credibility, much tougher. So simulating trades, as I said, practice, practice, practice. This is just a quick view of, we use TradingView as a simulator. Trader Sync is a journal. Journaling trades is vital. So every strategy we teach you, take that strategy, what you learned, and go practice on different time frames. So the 15-minute, 1 hour, the daily, doesn't matter. Find what you're good at and what fits your personality. And then journal your trades. At first, it's going to seem like a pain, although it actually does go pretty fast with Trader Sync. We used to use Excel, and then we used another one. I won't mention it because I don't want to badmouth other software, but it took a long time to enter a trade. Like I said, focus more on trading the strategies and time frames that work for you. Because at the end of the day, you are the one that is going to benefit or struggle from what you decide to do. So why not choose what works for you? And then go over your simulated results with your coach. Go over all of them, your wins and your losses. And see, we will praise you for what you're doing right. And I love when my students and my traders are suddenly seeing the chart. They're seeing it better. They're seeing certain important levels correctly. And they're telling me, and I don't have to tell them anymore, where a good entry point is. There's nothing better than that. All right. So again, psychology is huge. This was a research study that was done, I want to say, by S&P, because they wanted to know, how people feel about gains versus losses. And what they did was, and I don't know how they measured emotion. They're scientists, so I bet the explanation of that is probably about 53 pages long. Anyway, but what they found was, someone that gains $100, let's say they have an incremental emotion change, positive emotion change of 1. We'll call it that. Well, if you lose $100, they found that people had a negative 2.5 emotion change happen within that. So again, no one likes a losing trade, least of all me. I mean, if you guys know me, I'm a very curbing my emotions was one of those pitfalls I found in my personality. And even though the assessment told me I was going to face that pitfall, I would get married to a trade, and I made a lot of mistakes early on because I refused to I kept saying, I'm not going to let this trade take money from me. And you revenge trade, and we can explain what that is when we get into it, but not a good move. So be sure your expectations are realistic by first admitting that you will have losing trades. Let me just dispel with that suspense right now. Out of 10 trades, you're probably going to lose 4 or 5 of them are going to be losing trades. And that might seem shocking to you, but that's what happens. And you'll probably have 2 or 3 great trades, and the rest will just be mediocre. You want to make sure those 4 or 5 losing trades do not sink your account. Make them small losses, and we can teach you how to do that. The key is how you process them, and that you keep them small. Like I said, don't let it affect you. Losing trades, that's just a part of trading. It's going to happen to all of us, and it does. You've got to let it go, because you will have out of the park home run trades as well, I promise. enter each trade into the journaling software. Please, please, please make this a habit. If you join us, do this, because your journal will become gold. Because after every 100 trades you make, you go back into the journal and it can tell you so much. You can separate. In TraderSeek, it's a great tool. You can splice out trades in pretty much any way you want. And if you want to look at your losers in a specific strategy and time frame, you can do that. And you can figure out the commonalities in those losers. And you can go to your coach and say, okay, what am I doing wrong here? And they can help you figure it out. Then you can go practice on the simulator. Once you've got that figured out, take it into live trading. Now that won't be a problem going forward. And with each set of losing trades, you can kind of look at that and figure out what you're doing wrong, how you can do better, and suddenly your trading is getting better and better, and you're evolving. And while you're doing all this, your trading plan is evolving too. As you gain those insights into your training, into your trading, make sure you write them down and change your trading plan to include them. Like I said, we've gone over that. Strategies, timeframes that work for you, given your schedule and given your personality type. All right, so this is what needs to be in a trading plan. Time frame, risk management, how much you're going to risk. That's a biggie for us. How much of your capital are you going to have at risk at any time during a trade? What conditions do you like to trade? More of a daily chart kind of guy where you've got a trending chart? Or do you like ranging? So you want to take advantage of all those micro trends going on during a day. Obviously, this is for Forex, but we also have an options program. Where your entries are going to be. We want to be very specific, not just when. I remember the first trading plan I turned in. My exit strategy. I think I put something like when I feel the trend turning, I'll exit. And I still contend to this day that it just wasn't the final draft, but. I'm pretty sure I'm just fooling myself. And then, having targets. We'll suggest, good targets on these strategies. But, it should contain the following elements. Consistently evolving, like I've said. It follows your personality. Time frame's important. Risk management is one of the most important parts of your trading plan. Do not get big drawdowns. And it's always going to be unique to you. There will never be two traders that have the exact same trading plan. Because are they the exact same person? No. So we encourage you to trade what works for you, because that's where you're going to be happiest, feel most comfortable, and succeed. Okay, so once you've figured all that out, we provide all the capital. Every prop account that we offer is fully funded. So my old firm demanded that a trader put in 20% of the account. None of that here. It's another reason we wanted to change the business model. There are plenty of options for fully funded trading accounts, including Paragons. Like I said, most solo traders, alone traders fail due to two reasons: lack of knowledge and training. So they're trading alone. Everybody and their dog has written a book about Forex trading, and you could go out there and find 1 million of them today, and here's the problem. Half of them contradict the other half. How do you know you're learning the right stuff? That would drive me crazy. My personality is such that I want to be efficient. I don't want to be spending time learning the wrong things. So that's another reason why we have coaches. Our coaches are professional traders. Obviously, they're doing something right because they've made it to the point where they are independently wealthy, and they can help you get there too. And then the other reason people fail on their own, and I've heard this, I have so many, as friends find out this is what I do, they'll tell me, oh yeah, I have $500 in my Owanda account. Well, learning how to trade takes a lot of time. If someone's successful in trading, but they're not really spending much time at it, they're lucky. And I'm glad they're lucky. But as we all know, that can go the other way too. And I've heard those stories as many times as I've heard the lucky stories. So meaningful amounts of capital, what that means is you need to put in the time and the energy, and this is a transfer of knowledge. So just like college, it costs money. But when you're trading meaningful amounts of capital, and I'm talking about, fully funded $100,000 accounts with 100-to-1 leverage, suddenly you're trading an account worth 10 million of buying power. You don't need to make massive gains to make meaningful money. That's the point I'm trying to make there. So why is it such a benefit, such as Paragon? Coaching, training, and coaching. like I said, we've spent thousands of hours in the curriculum. We continue to make it better, to update it, to add to it. So sometimes we'll get a lot of questions about a certain thing, and maybe we missed that topic in the curriculum. So we'll add another video to add to that, and other trading labs to add just to supplement and complement what we already have. And the massive amounts of capital available to Paragon traders. We have a lot of capital available to you guys. And I just wanted to put up, some pictures of the funds we work with, our partners that we work with, and they treat Paragon traders very well. Because as a subgroup of the total traders they have, they know that Paragon traders are not going to all of a sudden blow up their accounts. And if I were a prop firm, I would appreciate that. I would appreciate not having to watch a group of traders that closely. But all these funds, all these prop firms are in the top 10, or at least the top 20 Forex prop firms around the world. And it took a lot. It took a while for them to do their due diligence on us. We did our due diligence on them and made sure they are reputable and registered with the NFA and are regulated. So nothing shady going on with the firms we use. So, and like I said, we get down to the minutia. When you're ready to go live with your trading, usually we'll have the trader form an entity through which he or she will trade professionally. And obviously that's for tax reasons. We don't want Uncle Tom, we don't want Uncle Sam, I should say, taking more money than he should out of our accounts. But this is a meritocracy. So the better you are as a trader, the more capital you're going to be allocated. And that's fair. If you can show that you can handle the money and you do well with it and make money, well, that's what prop firms' business models should be geared towards. That's why I just got confused at my old firm, and the coaching was going away or dwindling, and fees were going up, and that's not where a prop firm makes its money. The prop firm makes its money by creating great traders, because profit sharing with a great trader is going to make a prop firm way more money than desk fees, membership fees. Trust me. So the better and better you perform, the more capital you will be allocated. And the more of it you will get to keep. The more of your profit you will get to keep. For example, FTMO is one of our partners. They start off 80-20 split. So your profit share is 80, they take 20. And then as you keep progressing and hitting these benchmarks of profit, say you go up 10%, they add 25% to your account. Well, as you get to a certain level, now your profit share is 90 and theirs is 10. So you get rewarded the better you do, and we can help you get there. But that is our program, and we're excited to see where we can help you go with this. That's why I like interviewing people that apply, just because I want to see what your goals are, what's important to you as a person. I think that says a lot about you to see, and it tells me, are you a good fit for our culture? And will we be a good fit for you, for what you want? And ultimately, if both of those answers are yes, then we will do whatever we can to make sure this becomes a reality for you. It can and does happen. And with that, I'll leave it there.